Working less for a living, maybe. We told you last week about how a pilot program in the UK testing a 4-day work week was so successful that 9 out of 10 companies involved said they would make it permanent. So it raises an obvious question here in these United States. Could it work here? Scott MacFarlane reports now on the growing interest in state legislatures and even Congress to give employers the chance to find out.
One fewer day each week of the alarm clock and the morning commute. John Burns says once his software company in Baltimore instituted a 32-hour work week, the productivity of his 37 employees increased, and so did profits.
We've asked the employees to ruthlessly look at their work, get rid of extraneous meetings, extraneous phone calls, paperwork, things of this nature, and reduce down the amount of wasted work.
The COVID stay-at-home orders gave millions of workers their first taste of flexible work arrangements, and some employers discovered less can be more.
Are you drawing people like you and me, or are you drawing younger employees?
Definitely younger employees. We've had a lot of folks coming right out of college that are like, this is where we want to work.
A CBS News review finds at least a half dozen states, to varying degrees, are now considering legislation to make 4-day work weeks more common, including Maryland, where new legislation would offer companies that institute shorter work weeks a tax break. Maryland Delegate Vaughn Stewart is one of the bill's sponsors.
We're expecting that workers can be at least as productive in a 32-hour week as they are in a 40-hour week.
It's a pretty provocative argument.
Sure, but we're thinking that with more hours of rest, workers are going to be able to function better.
Employees in 4-day-a-week studies have reported less stress and less burnout and better physical health. But advocates like Boston College professor Juliet Shore say the idea might require prodding from government.
Historically, work time reduction has always involved government. We put in, or at least, in the last 200 years or so, we put in a 40-hour week in the United States in the 1930s.
New legislation in New York, California, and in the U.S. Congress would require companies that work employees more than 32 hours a week to pay overtime. Similar proposals have failed in the past. California's Chamber of Commerce called it a job killer not suited for all employers. Even supporters of the 4-day work week acknowledge it's not for everyone.
Absolutely. We don't think this is something that every single industry and every single business can do. But that's what we want to study.
I think it's important to note, Nate, this might not apply to people in television. But the supporters of that Maryland bill say they want it to be a range of employees impacted, white collar, blue collar, to reflect a broad spectrum of employees. But Nate, we got to cut you back from the 7-day week you're working right now.
Well, Scott, you work just as much as me. But you know what? We love working 7 days a week here at CBS. Right, Scott?
No.
If no other reason, we get to see Gayle more. Yes.
That's right.
That is true.
And speaking of Gayle, how do you feel about it?
I don't know anybody that wants to work 7 days, but when you look at the benefits of the 4-day week, I don't see why more people wouldn't do it.
Okay, but parents with young children are like, does it mean I have to take care of my 2-year-old and 4-year-old another day of the week? No. I mean, I don't want it then. I want them in school, or I want the sitter working 5 days.
True, no doubt about it. We'll see, though. We'll see what happens from state to state.
I like it.